It's go time. Woo! Let the excitement and explosion begin. You know what time it is. It's Women in Leadership Scholarship winner. Here she is, the one and only Mariah Casey, or AKA Mariah Carey. I had to say that offline. So, Mariah, quick off the bat, tell everybody out there, how many times do they say Mariah Carey?
Oh, I would say like 60% of the time that people are trying to say my name, they probably say Mariah Carey.
And then you show up and they're like, ooh, she's not a
Not
diva.
quite.
She's
Yeah. They're
she's
like,
the
that isn't
real
quite what
girl.
I
She's the real Mariah.
expected. Version 2.0.
You got it. Okay, so you went to the University of Wisconsin, right?
I sure did. Yep. A while ago now, but yes, I did have the privilege of being able to obtain my degree from UW.
Big Ten. Even though we're from a couple states over, it's all good. If you're in the Big Ten, you're part of my family for life. No SEC here.
No SEC here either. Don't let my boss hear me say that. But yes, I'm a Big Ten girly. That's for sure.
I love it. Okay, and first off, I got to say this. Cheese capital of the world. Where is it at? Wisconsin, right?
Of course. Yes, absolutely. Everybody in Wisconsin, a staple is to have a cheese drawer in their fridge. And like that is going to be a guaranteed thing. So that in somebody's refrigerator, there is going to be a drawer allocated just for cheese.
Okay, I've never been to your state. I need to show up there. I need to go to a Green Bay Packer game. And I hear your beaches are pretty awesome.
They are. Yeah, we have Lake Michigan and then on the east side of the state. And then we also have the Mississippi River, which is where I am on the left side of the state. And so we do have some like iconic water bodies, even though it's not quite ocean. But you can actually surf in Wisconsin.
Oh, time out. Because I surf out in the Pacific. My brother lives in San Diego. You can surf in Wisconsin? Really?
Yeah, on Lake Michigan. Yeah, it's like the only freshwater surfing in the world. And they have a worldwide competition every year.
All right, the Sharks coming to visit. I might bring my surfboard too.
You should.
As you everything now. This is
all the things.
Surfing in Wisconsin. Okay, never thought of that. Okay.
Yeah. Look at that. Learning new things every day.
I love it. Hey, thank you so much for coming on and sitting down with me one-on-one here. This is exciting stuff here, with the scholarship winners and what you have accomplished over the last couple years. But let's deep dive into it. I want to go way back to the Mariah days back in college and then take me through that. Okay, you graduate college and then jump me into the workforce and we'll go from there.
Yeah, you bet. So I feel like I'm not unlike most people who are in staffing in the sense of like, you never thought you'd wind up in staffing, right? Like you just stumbled into it. I think that's like how everybody says, but my undergraduate degree is in geophysics, geoscience and geophysics actually. And I graduated and a big part of what I was doing when I was in college is I was working at museums. And so that's why I'm full of a lot of Wisconsin random fun facts, is because I worked at the Wisconsin Historical Museum and then I worked at the Geology Museum. And after college, I was just kind of like unsure about what I was going to do with my life because, like, to be honest, jobs in museums and museum studies, while that's like amazing, it's just not the most like well-rounded. Most of my bosses had to like work at Costco to get benefits. And I was just, drowning in student debt, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And so I moved home, and I'm originally from northwestern Wisconsin. And my mom had worked at one of the state colleges for like 30 some years. And there was a short-term position as a recruiter at the college. And so I took a short-term position at the University of Wisconsin Stout. So it's like a smaller state school with about 10,000 students. And I was then their STEM, like the science programs, recruiter there. And I realized that I loved recruiting, loved the atmosphere. And then through college, I think this is another thing that's like pretty common in our industry, is I was a bartender and server all through college. So that like instant gratification, great customer service.
Bartender. Give me your favorite drink. To make.
Favorite drink to make. Well, to consume, I probably have a glass of champagne or a very, very dirty martini. But yes. I feel
both for the shark. Both dirty martini.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Filthy, extra dirty.
Oh, extra dirty. Absolutely. And I feel like the most fun to make for me is probably a standard Bloody Mary. And that's more of a Wisconsin thing. But I feel like everybody's preferences are different. And getting told you make a delicious Bloody Mary is like a badge of honor. And so I feel like I have that. So that's
Really?
probably one of my
I didn't know
favorites.
that.
Oh, in Wisconsin, people are very particular. So
I love that. Okay, so if I ordered a Long Island, would you just roll your eyes? Because I hear bartenders hate making a Long Island.
I mean, it's easy, but and now it's been many years since I have bartended, and it's fine. It just to me that's like a 21-year-old ordering at the bar is it doesn't taste like if somebody says they truly like a Long Island, I know they're lying.
Yeah, they're awful.
Yes.
It's like sweet soda. Yeah, it's not good for me. So give me a story before we even deep dive in about bartending. Give me a funny story. Does anybody know you're a bartender, like in the staffing industry?
I don't know. I know that I have found that when I was like looking to hire on my team or when I've seen really high producers that a lot of them come with that background or when we realize like you're talking with somebody else and you're like, oh, I totally was a server for a really long time too, or I was a bartender. And so I've like found that, but I feel like not, I mean, not like that it's public knowledge, I guess. I'm not sure that my bartending experience is on my LinkedIn, I suppose I would say.
I think you should. Maybe like a job tender, serving up jobs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.
Oh boy. So I got to tell you, so the experience you had from bartending, I mean, you probably seen stuff there that, will never phase you in anything else in life.
Absolutely.
Did you have to cut a lot of people off? Were you like one of them bars where you had to like say,
yeah, yes,
you go home?
yes. I feel like working in a college town is just like the atmosphere. And I feel like being like, I worked in a sports bar that was like a Big Ten, college game day was like a whole thing. Right. And so I feel like it just kind of really prepared you to be in any type of environment, deal with any type of person, be able to pivot, deal with all the craziness and take advantage of it too. And I feel like it was a pretty good opportunity for me and something that in the moment didn't really probably feel like I was super like learning a lot. But now it's funny when I look back on, throw like a fire or 911 situation, I probably can handle that a little bit faster than I would have before that experience.
Well, I know next time you go to a conference, if we ever connect, you're definitely going to make us all Bloody Mary. We're going to have you go behind the bar and make it. You know what? The number one Bloody Mary for ASA right there, Mariah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oh, so okay. So after bartending, you jump in it. Let's speed ahead and go from there.
Yeah, so I took a full-time position as a recruiter at a university, and it's different than staffing, but very, very similar in the sense of instead of finding people for jobs, you're trying to and recruit them for the jobs that you have. Instead, you're recruiting them to attend the college or university that you work for. So I was working in the admissions office, and so I was traveling around to different high schools and doing different events throughout the state, trying to basically recruit students to attend the college as well as hosting admissions events on campus as well, giving presentations about the campus, and then, helping students with their applications, and then all the things that go with that, scholarships, FAFSA, all that kind of, gritty details about college. And I worked there for about a year, and I was seeking.
Like that? Did you like it?
I really liked it. Yeah. And then after a year, I realized that I wanted to expand my education a little bit. And there was an opportunity a couple hours south, which is actually where I live now, in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which, yes, is where the sport came from. And with that, I moved a couple hours south and took a job at a different university doing basically a similar thing. But part of the program or that university's programs was that if you were a full-time colleague, you could get any degree for free. And so I was able to work full-time as a recruiter and also obtain my MBA. And so all in all, I worked in higher ed recruitment for about 6 years before I made the jump over to staffing.
How was high ed recruitment? I know because when you're going to these places when way back in the 90s, I mean, you had every school. They don't want to talk crap on the other school, but they're trying to pull you in. I mean, they're telling you that daisies are blooming every day and all that good stuff. Is it still a dog-eat-dog world?
It is 1,000% a dog-eat-dog world. And for so many reasons, right? So right now, and I mean, all the things, the one thing that is a statement of fact is that there's less students. It doesn't matter. In the US, there are less students to even choose to go to college. Like enrollment in high schools is down because like less people are having babies, and so there's less people to physically go to college. So, and the way that colleges are able to keep their doors open is by tuition and enrollment. And so trying to get your enrollment up. And so it's really interesting for like the idea of metrics and enrollment and all that stuff. And then it was really interesting to see how it translated into staffing actually. But no, it was totally a dog eat dog world.
Oh, I could imagine. You're like, oh, my school's better than your school. And when you had these, I got to tell you, I'm curious about this. So when you go to these like fairs and stuff like that, you're standing beside another school, and you're trying to pull them in and suck them in. I mean, that's crazy stuff. I mean, does that stuff still go on? I mean, or it's all digital now?
Nope, they do still have. I mean, obviously during COVID things slowed down, and I mean, but they'd still do tons of in-person events. I would say it's not as like cutthroat as that, right? I would say that ultimately, for the most part, all of the people that I got to know that worked at like competitor colleges, we all kind of worked together, and it was ultimately truly like you want a student to enroll in your college and stay at your college for all 4 years. And so if you find somebody and you know they're just going to transfer or drop out or whatever after a semester, it's not worth it. So it was like worth it to truly help them find the best fit of the school. And so it was all right, but it was interesting because you would go on these, like they called it a circuit of like traveling throughout the state of like each day and night being at a different high school for these events. And you'd travel with like all your competitors, but then you got to know them, right? Because you were traveling with them all around.
Hanging out
and
at
then your
nighttime.
colleague, yes, exactly. And so then all your colleagues then were back at the university. And so it was an interesting dynamic, but I definitely learned a lot, and it was, it was a good experience, and it was interesting to see the skills that transferred over to staffing.
I love it. I love it. You know, and I got to ask you this seriously: was there like a lot of pressure? Did you have to get so many enrollments, or was it more relaxed?
No, 1,000% pressure. It was like, if we do not hit so many like freshman students are in the fall, we're going to have to cut these programs. Like it was a lot. And to be honest, I was, like straight out of college. I was like, 23. And for me, like getting a free hotel stay in Appleton, Wisconsin seemed like really exciting. Like I got to rent my first car and go on like a work trip, and so it was interesting because the structure is that for admissions, it's like in the hands of all these like young 20 something, their entry level jobs. And so it was interesting because it's not commission based either. Like they can't give commission in that role.
That's
so
right.
It was working a sales job without getting, compensated for a sales job, but it is still pretty like you're really impacting people's lives. And so it was like a pretty special type of position in that capacity. But yeah, it was a grind, that's for sure. But I had a lot of fun, and the colleagues that I met and were able to learn from during that, are people that like have really, really impacted my career moving forward. So I'm very grateful for the 2 different universities that I worked at.
I love that. Okay, so you move on from the university, and then where do you go next? I mean, did you just quit basically and say or do you already have a job lined up?
I did have a job lined up working at. What's interesting is that a lot of people with EmployBridge are kind of like, did you change jobs? Because EmployBridge is kind of like an umbrella, and then there's like 8 brands under EmployBridge. And so I took a job with Remedy Intelligent Staffing, which is the franchise division of EmployBridge. And basically I graduated with my MBA, and I had been at Viterbo for about 5 years. And I, at that time, was just basically, in order to move in my career in higher ed, it would have had to be that other people resigned. Like I was kind of just very stuck, and nobody was really moving. And I was just kind of ready to see what that next step was going to be. And I was like ready for that. I had just obtained my MBA. And so I ended up kind of just like looking elsewhere and didn't know anything about staffing, but I had a recruiter reach out to me on LinkedIn to try to set something up. And I had an interview with a regional vice president, and took a recruiting job in staffing.
Isn't that amazing? We all fell into it. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
It's like, and before you even jumped into this, did you even know, I just thought, oh, you're looking at resumes and that's it. Put somebody to work. I had no clue the complexity of this industry.
Yeah, no, I absolutely did not. The one thing that was like sort of bizarre is that the same ATS system that Remedy was using was the same one that the university I was working at. So like the software system was the same. It was like a freak thing. I couldn't believe that's actually how it worked. So,
Cool.
and like having to call applicants, follow up on their application, and like babysit candidates ultimately, like that was the same thing that I was having to do with high school seniors, if you can imagine. So it was like similar, but I had no idea the whole gambit that I was getting myself into in any capacity.
I could imagine. Okay, so your first day in the staffing recruiting world, give it to me. I mean, because
Oh
most
gosh.
people after the first day, they're like, they either shake their heads and say, I'm going straight to the bar. I don't know if I can handle this.
Yeah, that is actually a really good story because it was pretty much a whirlwind. I walked in and the local branch that I was working in was a small office. And so it was a one recruiter office, and I was hired as the second recruiter. And and then the regional vice president was there, and or no, HR was there. Regional vice president wasn't able to be there, but it was HR and one recruiter. And there was unfortunately like an injury that had happened with one of our associates, and then the associate ended up working in the branch, and it was like mayhem from start to finish. This associate was doing all these crazy things. There was nothing, like I was just like, how is this? Is this what happens every day? Because I can't, what is going on? But I'm really happy I showed up for day 2, because then it like leveled out. But it was a wild ride. I was very overwhelmed at day 1, very unsure if it was a good decision. But big picture, it obviously worked out. And I'm happy I stuck around.
I love it. So how long have you been there?
So in August, it will be 8 years.
8 years.
Yep.
Look at you with one company, right?
With one company, yes.
That's like in staffing, that's like forever. You know that. You know how people flip and flop now all the time.
I totally agree. Well, and I think a big reason that I'm so loyal is because of the opportunities that I've been given at my organization. I started, like I said, in like middle end of August, and by January 1st, I was promoted to be a manager, which was really exciting. And then, which was awesome. And then a year later, doing math in my head, sorry, took over an additional like remote healthcare branch and added that on. And it was like then COVID and craziness. And then I had an opportunity to become a VP a few years ago. So it's been a wild ride. So I've definitely changed roles, even though I've been with the same org.
I love it. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning here, 8 years ago. Okay, so the first time you're on the phone with a candidate, can you remember this? I mean, like, because we're all stumbling over our words. It's like, you got somebody over you probably listening to you, and it's a script, and you're all nervous, and you're like, excuse me, you effed it up, and you're like, oh, this sucks, So take me through that process.
I think that when I think back to that, I definitely feel like there's so much of those types of like stumbling through and just figuring it out. I ended up that like office that I was originally hired into, the one other recruiter, I had worked for like maybe a week and a half, and then she resigned. And so I had a week and a half in, and then I was a solo by myself person. That was it. No manager, no nothing. But what I did have was my direct boss at the time, who was like a regional vice president. She was a person who like allowed me to make mistakes and didn't like criticize me or make me feel terrible about it. And I think that's a huge reason that then I just was trying to figure stuff out, get the people paid that we had working, and, put out fires as they were happening when I was the only person. And I think that really helped me. First off, I was like, jump right in. Like I had to figure it out right away. And so, yeah, exactly. And so then that really helped me kind of figure out basically a lot of how the role worked and the, industry and all of that. But then anytime like I was drowning, like, I don't know, how do you process payroll? How do you know what I mean? Like, what is workers' comp? Like all these types of questions that I didn't know anything about, but she was like there to support me 100%. And so I feel like that allowed it to be that like I could share with her if I had too much on my plate and I was like really worried. And she like allowed me to be vulnerable in a way that really made me feel supported, and that I was still, and that's like a huge reason I think that I had the opportunity then to move into a manager role just after a few months.
I love that. And you got to admit, the scripts, I don't know about you, but I hate a script. Don't you? You get that booklet, and it's like, and you're trying to read it and you're stumbling over the words. There's a big word. I'm from Pittsburgh. We chop all our words up anyway. It's like, this is not going to work. I got to be myself. I mean, and you get so nervous too, because everybody's listening to you if you're new, you know that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And they're waiting for
Yeah.
you to mess up.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm not about that either. I have to go off the cuff, otherwise it sounds. And I mean, being a bartender or server, I feel like I have like a voice. Like when I would be doing calls,
Mhm.
I know that I go up a couple octaves. When my husband hears me, he's like, "Who was that on the phone just now? That was not you. Who were you talking to?" And so I definitely know I have like a customer service voice.
Yeah.
But no, it can be a lot of pressure. Absolutely.
So your first 90 days there, were you like a rock star, or were you like, because I'm sure, like, I don't know about you, but like my first time in staffing, a couple of the guys I like was training me, they got fired within the 90 days. I'm like, oh boy, so what did you see? Because I see a lot of people go in and out, and I'm thinking, why is this high turnover? What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah. I had the other recruiter who was like a high performer resign, so I did have somebody leave. But it was pretty high pressure. I definitely stumbled a lot. Like the first 90 days, I was like a baby deer trying to figure everything out, right? But because I was the only person there, and it was kind of like this location has the opportunity to be huge, but just do what you can. If you're like learning a little bit, growing a little bit, adding a little bit in sales every week or whatever, you're successful right now. We can't believe, like, just keep doing what you're doing. And I think because of that support, it made me feel a little bit more confident. And I tend to be an over communicator. So I'm like, okay, if I am doing something that is not working, just tell me, I'll change it right away. Or let's meet all the time, give me all of the feedback, I'll take it. I want to make sure that like I'm representing the company well. And so I think that helped. But it definitely was 1000% nerve wracking the entire time. And
Boy.
especially becoming a manager after just a couple of months, I knew so little. I remember going to like a large leadership meeting filled with other people that were managers. And I was like, oh gosh, nobody call on me. I have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. So I was definitely a little anxious about diving into a leadership role. But yeah, that first 90 days was a wild ride. That's for sure.
Do you think, talking about leadership, like, especially in our industry, leaders need to step up more and, be that more that hands-on, I say, lead by example?
Yes. Yeah, I think that there's a couple things that I've had the privilege of learning being around amazing leaders and mentors in my career that really have like shown me things that have been really impactful. First off, it's like letting me try things and screw up without it being like you know what I mean? Like take a few risks, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then having leaders who are willing to work just as hard, if not harder than you, and what they're doing is like if you've heard of the term servant leadership, I'm sure you have. My favorite thing to think about is like if you think of a hierarchical organization, right, all the way up to a CEO, the idea is that you like flip it upside down. And I think that for me, that's what distinguishes like a great leader versus a not great leader is when they specifically their entire focus is how can my entire like what can I do to support my entire team instead of what is my entire team going to do to make me look good and so that
Bingo.
I
Yep.
can grow my career. And I think by having those types of like role models to look up to, that's like helped me a lot. Having people who are willing to be in the trenches with me, even though they're my leaders, look at, treat the janitor the same as the CEO, and then also do whatever they can to support their teams. Those are just like some huge differentiators. And I think that in our industry, is lacking, if I'm being honest.
Oh, no, say it. You can say it because I say it all the time. This is amazing when I go into companies and the leaders or the managers don't even know how to operate an ATS. That tells you, and you know what I tell them? The biggest thing is on Friday, do not leave at noon and jump on your boat while your recruiters are still working till 5. That's
Oh
a
my
no-no.
gosh.
That is the
That
worst.
to
Do
me,
you ever see that happen in your life? That's like
uh,
where you just bite your tongue because once you leave, them recruiters are done for the day. They're like,
that
we're
is the
done.
biggest ick ever. I'm like cringing thinking about that. That's never ever what we want. Like yeah, if we could like change that entire mindset, I just think the entire industry would be in a much better place. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, like, hey, if you need me, I'll be on my boat. You can just call me, or I'm leaving. I'm going to Europe. It's like, it's almost like a throw in the face for somebody. It's busting their butt, trying to get their,
Yep.
keep their job and trying to get commission and put people to work, and I think that terminology is so true. Leaders have to talk like they're just like a recruiter like everybody else or sales,
Exactly.
Don't ever talk down to people, Mariah. That's what I always say to people all the time. Treat everybody with respect. And you know what? If you're not filling that role, why don't you stay till 7 o'clock with that recruiter and help them? Guess
Absolutely.
what? Retention, my friends, is that the number one thing? Boom. They're going to stay with you forever.
Yes. And it takes like that hip to hip, truly mentoring that person to finally do that. And I think that's a commitment of leaders. Like when I have branch managers that report up to me. And I think that's something that my branch managers do exceptionally well, but it was like a training thing for all of us, is that it truly takes the leader taking the time, investing the time to develop their teams and being willing to do the exact same job, right? And that we're all in that together. And I think that really, really makes a huge, huge difference in regards to the success of a branch, the, happiness of all of the colleagues and willingness, to help each other out and that kind of a thing too.
I say this all the time. And if I give anybody a tip out there, I never leave till the job's done. Everything's on my back if I'm in with helping a company out. I'm like, peeps, you can leave. No, you're going to stay there. I'm staying till 7 o'clock. Guess what? The recruiter's going to stay right with you because they want to get it done too. That's that lead by example. I say all the time, but I don't see it in our industry. I see people all the time because these recruiters complain to me all the time. They're like, they just leave. I don't get no direction, which I love what you said, and I know your organization does a good job with that. It's just, some people sometimes won't ask because they're scared that they're going to get fired. So maybe go over and just encourage them to say, what's wrong with you? What's going on? You're maybe a funk right now. We all get in funks in staffing. Staffing's a roller coaster. You're not going to sell 1 million accounts every year.
Yep. Yeah, no, it totally is. And asking people what roadblocks they are running into in order to be successful in whatever role they're in. And like, as a leader, whether or not that person directly reports to you or not is just a colleague, I think that like talking through those things, because you might have like a solution they could apply. They might provide you some solutions, that kind of a thing. It builds camaraderie. And again, it allows for like a safe space to share because none of us are perfect. And everybody's going to have like off weeks or circumstances or situations. Lord knows that in staffing, you deal with new things every single day that we've never dealt with, right? And so I think that being willing to kind of share those types of things that you're struggling with, the person next to you or your boss or, whatever might have gone through that exact thing and say, don't do what I did, do this instead, or whatever it might be, and that it just helps everybody else. I totally agree. I think it really comes down to creating that culture of trust and empathy while trying to, win, basically.
Well, it comes down to it. They have to believe in you and you have to believe in them. That's the
1,000%.
You got to buy into it. And one thing I always say is I do Q&A once a week with my peeps. It's like, it's Q&A, quiz me. If you want to quiz me on like what I'm drinking tonight, if I'm going to have a beer, I have land sharks and refrigerators down there. If somebody's having a bad day, we'll just go crack a land shark and I'll sit in their office with them, and talk.
Yeah.
That's all. And that's all the motivation they might need for the next week.
Absolutely. Yes, I totally. Yeah. And sometimes it's just those little things to make people feel heard, right? I think that's another thing that's really, really important is before a big decision is, made, even if it's not the decision that somebody was hoping for, it's really making sure that their voice is still important and it was heard. And then making sure that like whatever their concerns were, they feel as though you're addressing them in whatever way you can, in whatever scope. And so really, I would say like over communicating in whatever way you can, it's definitely important.
Okay, Mariah, is this like a leadership webinar we're doing right now?
I mean, yes, I guess so.
Why not? But okay, so I want to steer this way. So give me a couple stories in the last 8 years, maybe an inspiring one. You don't have to give me any names, or one that you just like something outside the box that you experienced in 8 years.
Just a well, okay. What kind of topic here? Because Lord knows I've got lots of them. So give me something that's going to entertain everybody that somebody might not know. Oh, all right. Okay. I'm trying to think of a good one.
Like we're on Jerry Springer, and I'm just joking.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Lord knows, dealing with associate things, there's plenty of those. Actually, something that if anybody watching that watches this, I actually need help with something. So something that I've been trying to do, and it was actually an idea of one of my managers, is create, those like rip-off calendars? Yeah. Like the daily calendars, like dogs or whatever that people have. I really want one that says, reason that I called in to work today. And then like everybody for a company can say all of the craziest reasons that people have called into work for all the different things that they've experienced. And then it's like a rip-off calendar of all the craziest things. And I was hoping to get like, I am sure that I could get 365 different reasons that people have called into work, but I want to get one of those made. And I did a deep dive on the internet to try to figure it out, of like to get a print company to do that. So if anybody knows of a print company that would be willing to make me a rip-off calendar, I'm really looking for that. That would definitely be something.
A rip-off calendar. You know what? I had one candidate one time. I'm going to tell you this, Mariah. I think he had 10 ants die in 10 days.
Yeah, see, exactly, right?
The ant's like a number one giveaway, the ant. He's like, really?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there are just...
Or no gas money. You know, it's like you just got paid, but no gas money. Or car broke down, but you decided to tell me a half hour after your shift started.
Oh, yes. The amount of things and the crazy call-off reasons are just like, you know, at one point you can just like only laugh. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it was too windy. We get that a lot. It was too windy. And, you know, all the crazy things.
I was up all night with a stomach ache in the bathroom. Like, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or yeah, way too much detail. That's the thing. And especially through like our texting platforms where people can like text in and we can see it. Some of the things people are willing to put into a text to their boss or their, you know, their employer. That's very bold. I've
had over the years where they text me inappropriate pictures they were supposed to send to their girlfriend.
Oh, we've done that too.
Oh, wow. Yep. I wake up to this. Okay, candidate. Up and close. Okay. You can't make this up. I swear to God, there should be like a Netflix series behind the scenes. Like light industrial, day-to-day labor is like, oh, it would be a hit.
Yes. And so the working for EmployBridge, it's like, why can't I think of it? But we do all industries. And I have the privilege of being able to work with light industrial, healthcare, professional, RPO. I kind of dabble in a little bit of everything. And so, yes, I feel like the branch managers that I have that deal in light industrial, they keep me entertained with all the different things that we are always dealing with.
That's one thing about staffing I love so much, that every day is a different day. There's not one boring day in my 10 years of being in staffing. It's like, every day you're going to have something come up, good or bad. It's going to be, but it's comical. I mean, you almost have to go home to your husband and say, I can't believe just what happened today.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I agree. And I feel like that's one of the things that's like so motivating, right? It's like exciting what we're doing, but also, yeah, you just never know what kind of crazy thing is going to happen. And I feel like with staffing being like the first thing that kind of gets hit with any type of market volatility, then as a result, it's like this so much. And then you just never know anything that you're going to deal with. And so I feel like you have to have a team that's really ready to like handle curveballs. But I feel like my opportunity and so many of the people that I've had the luxury of working with, it's like what you put into it, you get out of it and then some. Like that's why I'm stuck in the industry. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going anywhere because the opportunities and growth and amazing people that I've met, you know, I've gotten so much more out of it.
It sucks you in like the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, once you get in staffing, I really don't see many people leave our industry and go somewhere else. It's very,
I feel like if you hit that like 2-year mark, then they're like pretty much in it and they realize that they're like good at it. But yes, I definitely agree. Once it clicks for you, people are stuck.
We're part of family for life. We're not going nowhere. Okay. So the exciting part, this big scholarship. So what made you apply? Did you nominate yourself? Did somebody else reach out to you? Let's break it down.
I did have, so Joni Biley, that everybody knows because of ASA, right?
Everybody knows Joni.
Everybody knows Joni. So she had been a divisional president at EmployBridge, and because of her being the chair of board of directors, she cascaded a lot more information down organizationally than we had before, like different things going on, webinars, ways to get involved. And so the division president that I report to had kind of just cascaded it. Here's some more opportunities with ASA that Joni sent over if anybody's interested. But then I actually had 2 people reach out to me and said, I think that this is something that you should apply for. And so and so I was like, okay, like I don't really know what this entails, but I love growing and professional development and I'm all about it and what I can apply to my team. So if I get the opportunity to go to these conferences, like absolutely. And then I attended, they have the like webinars to like learn about it and what to do. And then I was kind of like, oh, I definitely need to apply. Like, even if I didn't think I had any chance of winning, but I definitely knew I wanted to apply at a minimum. And obviously now I am so incredibly grateful that I did.
How many times did you apply?
Just the once.
The one time. And then after you applied, so give me the story. Like, okay, I hear it's like what, 2 to 3 hours it takes because you have to put thoughts down. It's just not a click and go. I mean, you really have to go into this.
Oh no, it is not a 2 to 3 hour thing either. And I'm not trying to say, usually I am a, work smarter, not harder type of a person. Yeah. But
Big 10.
with all of that, it's like there's character limits. And I was trying to think of like, man, there's like so much I could say or so little I could say. And I really struggled to like, okay, these are the for sure points I want to make, and then trying to fit it in the box for the questions. And so that was a challenge. And then I had a really unique situation. You have to get a letter of recommendation. And when I had applied, the boss that I worked for forever, the person I was talking about, the like, let me be a baby deer, ultimately, she, a few years ago with her husband, bought a campground in central Wisconsin, very close to one of the state parks in Wisconsin. And her husband had been managing the campground, and, her weekends were spent managing the campground. And then she was still my direct boss. And then she had actually basically kind of, I'm going to say, retired early to run the campground full time. But she had been my boss for over 6 years and like in every position that I had. And so I reached out to her to ask for this letter of recommendation. And Diana for the scholarship was just like, we were so confused why a campground owner was writing your letter of recommendation. Being like, it didn't have like company letterhead or anything like that. But she helped me a little bit. And they were like, yeah, we like looked her up and like, she's doing great. And I was like, I know, it's amazing.
Is she on tablet paper? No, I'm just joking.
No, thankfully, because of she's like an incredibly professional person, but she does, she like loves living her like, she calls it her hippy dippy lifestyle now, because they're like very
wrong with that.
Nope. Yep. It's great. And so, but then I reached out to her. She did an amazing job. I'm very grateful to that. And so, but I did spend like multiple hours. Like, it took a while for me to really figure out how to be myself while still being professional, having what I wanted to say, and then also having it fit in the box. You know what I mean? So it took a little bit longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be like, I spend an hour, maybe 2, and just whatever.
A little survey, a couple things. And
yeah. And I ended up investing more time, but I'm glad that I took that time. I think if I wouldn't have, I probably would have just, rambled on or had tons of fluff words or whatever.
So after you sent it off, what was your gut feeling? Be honest with me. Did you think you had a shot or what?
I think because I had people reach out to me to say, I think you'd be a great fit for this, that kind of empowered me a little bit. Okay, like, okay, sure. And then I had some crazy opportunities happen in my career, which allowed for some like record-breaking things to happen during COVID and a few different things that I did have I was given an opportunity, but then because of the support I had and the different things, I was really, really able to take advantage of those opportunities. And so I did see some like tremendous growth in a short amount of time. And I feel like in that I felt like there wasn't no chance. I did think that there was a lot of other people, and like hearing from the past scholarship winners, I was like, oh, they're doing like these women are absolutely amazing. I'm not at the caliber of them, but I didn't think that my application was like bottom of the barrel, is I guess what I would maybe say.
You had the confidence. You're like, okay, this is what I feel like. This is what I wrote. It's gonna make it to the next level.
And I think something else that we tend to do, and something that women specifically also do, is be humble, right? They don't want to
Mhm.
recognize all that they have accomplished. And that's something that I feel like ASA is doing a very, very good job doing, is like empowering women to actually speak about what they have accomplished. And that was something that, to be honest, in my entire tenure in staffing, I had never really taken time to reflect back on what I had done. And that was a big part of the application process and why I was glad that I did it. Because I was like, wow, I did do a lot, like it's kind of been
Yeah.
crazy. And because the day to day is so crazy, right? And you're just trying to like chase after it and, that kind of a thing, that the application process was really, really helpful. But I did feel like, okay, you know what? I did do quite a few things. I didn't realize how much like I really had been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time.
Good for you. And then I take it, you got an email, right? A while back
Yep.
after that.
Yep. Yeah. Of
So give
course,
me
it was
your
like the
feeling with that
craziest
email.
day. I was in a meeting and I am a notorious multitasker. Like I am really bad
Really? I would never figure that. I'm totally joking. I could
I
tell.
was gonna say no, you can totally tell.
Hell
And
yeah.
so I am a notorious multitasker. And so I remember that there were like some big meetings going on and I like saw the email notification pop
Mhm.
up and I was like, oh gosh. And then I was like, do I read the email now? But all I saw was like the congratulations part. And I was like, I can't even read. And I was like, oh gosh. And so like all these people are presenting, we're like doing all these client things. And I totally did not do a good job of paying attention to the rest of that meeting.
Wow. Yeah. Great award. I mean, you're like, forget this. You know what I am now?
No, not quite. Well, that was the thing too, is like, is this really real or what does this mean? Like, that was a very surreal experience.
So after you got that, it was on a Friday, right? That's when they sent the emails
Yes.
out? Okay. Did you and your husband go out and celebrate after that? I mean, what was your feeling like, okay, when you got home and it sunk in?
I think that I was like, okay, wow, I was selected, right? This is amazing. I think I looked up the other girls, like who they were and where they worked, because like we were all on the same thread. But I think that I truly didn't understand the scope of what that meant. Like I didn't understand ultimately like
Mm.
what would happen immediately, what would happen as a result of being able to attend Thrive in staffing world, and then ultimately how my like entire professional career would completely change. Like I was really like, okay, this is a cool honor. Like I'm so excited about this. I'm still unsure if I like fit along with these other women, like did
Oh,
they
get out
really
of
read my
here.
application correctly? And
Hmm.
then I feel like I didn't know how much like everything online would blow up, being recognized. Like EmployBridge has 3,000 employees, and like I was like, man, everybody at EmployBridge, is like seeing my name somewhere. Like this is a big, like I was like, wow, I don't know,
Yeah.
and so it felt very, very surreal. Yeah, it's been a wild ride ever since.
I love that part, and I feel like all of you that say have the same feeling. You know what I mean? It's like it's for real, and when it's for real, it's like, wow, your staffing career is never going to be the same. It's
Absolutely.
like
Yep.
not the same. You have this award that it's labeled with you for the rest of your life, and only certain people get it every year. You only get
Yep.
7 or 8 is the max. So
Yep.
you do that over 10 years, that's only 80 people. And how many people do we have at ASA? Thousands on thousands.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have to, if you look at the number like that, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
we
It's
are the
insane.
select few, like the NFL almost, I mean, I
Oh
play it like
gosh.
that. But okay, so the key is you get this award. Okay. Have you never met any of these other girls till Staffing World, right?
Hmm.
Did you guys
Yes,
have
we didn't meet
communication
in person.
beforehand?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Oh, I think we started a group chat first and we were just like chatting. And then we did a couple like happy hour calls and we hit it off right away. It was fantastic, just like in a get to know you type situation. And then what we did is everybody the way that it was organized with winning the scholarship is that we all got to town the day before Thrive kicked off. And so as a group, we all went down to Broadway, like first time meeting each other, experience Broadway in Nashville, which was a whole
Oh
thing.
no.
And but it was wonderful. I mean, then after that, we were like attached at the hip, and the group chat has never been the same. So we immediately hit it off, and we can talk about personal things, private things, all these wonderful women. I'm so lucky to be able to call not only fellow scholarship winners, but close friends of mine now. And yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so is there one in a group that's like, are you the leader, the outgoing one? Is there a funny one in a group? You know how you always have somebody, everybody has
Yeah,
a
it's a good
different
question.
personality.
I do think we have all different types of personalities in our group. And one thing that I think is really cool too is that of the winners, it's not just that we have different like industries within staffing, but we have marketing professionals, we have people who are in field leadership, we have all these different areas within staffing that I find so interesting also. And so, but man, I don't know. I feel like all of us, so we're called the Big Sisters.
Hmm. Who came up
And
with
that
that
is,
name? Time out. We got to talk about that. Did you guys, was there a certain, how did it pop in your head to call this the Big Sisters? Because
I
it's
don't know.
amazing, by the way.
Somebody said something, like we were at a table during Thrive, I think, and somebody said something about like only an eldest daughter would say something, or, that's like an eldest daughter type thing. And then everybody at the table were like, oh my gosh, we are all older sisters. Like all of us are the eldest sister in the family. Like we are the eldest daughters. And so then we realized that. And then Isabella, who I'm super excited for you to chat with,
Yeah.
is our go-to marketing person. Now, Justine, who you talked to earlier today, she had a ton of marketing and nonprofit experience, but Isabella's like currently really, like doing all, and I don't know, one of them came up with the Big Sisters with the I is a 7. I am not the creative, so like I let them do all of that. So I feel like our energy in that, like we are all similar in those types of like standard personality traits that certain people have, but that all of us have very unique things that we all bring to the table.
No, you guys bring a lot of vibrant fun to it. I mean, I keep saying this all the time. The thread I was on for the last month was fun. You got your pictures in. I know you're like, anybody else need their pictures? Stuff like that. I love how you guys keep each other accountable. It's like, let's get this done because this is a special week for all of you to sit down one-on-one. So now I want to go here. Okay. You're on the stage. Give me your thoughts. What's going on in your mind? Everybody is watching you. You're in the spotlight. What's going on?
I think that I probably was not really taking it in. Now, at Staffing World, when we came out, so Thrive, we came out and it was great. And I think I was just disassociating. Like, this isn't really happening to me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it was but at Staffing World, somebody right beforehand was like talking to us and was just like, really take this in, ladies. Like, this is really special. And so I really did that. And when we came out and stood there, it was like a little surreal because that conference room at Staffing World was one of the big, like, it was filled to the brim all the way to the back. And I
Yes.
was like, how many thousands of people are here? This isn't like a 150-person conference. This is a big conference. And I just remember standing there with these other amazing women, and everybody's cheering. And then all of a sudden, I have goosebumps talking about this. Everybody stood up and gave us a standing ovation. And I was just like very taken back. Like, this is insane. I cannot believe this is happening. And it like lives rent free in my head and will forever for the rest of all time with how amazing it was.
I love that. You know what? Everybody says the same thing. It's one of them where it's like, till you get on that stage and the heart starts pounding it, and everybody's looking at you. You're like, I did this. I made it. Because there's a lot of applicants, Mariah. You know that. I mean, there's a lot of people to apply across the country for this. So for you to be selected is an honor that is a wow,
Yeah, absolutely. It still feels pretty wild that I get to be able to have this honor with those other women. It's been really, really special.
Okay, so I told Justine, and I think that you guys should get together and maybe do a trip to Cancun sometime.
Oh
On the
yeah, I
islands.
love
Wouldn't that be
Cancun.
good? Seriously.
I am a travel girly. That is my thing. And today, the NFL announced the international games, and we're obviously big Packer fans. And so my husband and I have gone to all of the international Packer games.
Yeah.
And we were really hoping that the Packers would have the first international game in Dublin. But yet again, Aaron Rodgers ruined something else. And because he's probably going to go play for the Steelers, the Packers are not going to Dublin. So I'm shifting gears. But so then I will have some time freed up to go to Cancun with Justine.
Well, just to let you know where I'm from, right? Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah,
we
you're
want
going to
Aaron
get
to
Aaron
come.
Rodgers. I mean,
We
that's
want him to
fine. I
come.
get it.
I
That's
mean,
fine. We don't need him back, so but you
ooh,
can have him.
ooh. I got to tell you one thing on a side note. The Netflix series, did you watch it with Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
wow. So okay. So off. Hey, this is part of it. Green Bay doesn't like Aaron Rodgers, or is it a
I
mix?
think it's mixed. It's mixed. It's very interesting because we already had something so similar with Brett Favre
Yeah, I
that I
know. It's
feel
like
like
identical.
yes, and so I feel like at this point people are just like accepting. You know what I mean? And Aaron Rodgers didn't do it nearly as bad as Brett Favre did. So I feel like everybody just kind of feels like meh. And I think they would feel a lot worse if Jordan Love had not done a good job.
Yeah, totally
Like
agree.
if yeah, because
And
Jordan Love
Rodgers,
stepped up, I think helped.
if he goes to Minnesota, it's identical. He can't do
Oh
that. Come on.
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
god.
he had like visions of going there. I'm like, no way. But to be honest with you, we're not even holding our hope up anymore. I mean, come on, that season's going to start before you know, and he's still holding out. So we don't know.
You just never know. There is always something. There is always something.
Gotta love the Green Bay talk. Okay, Mariah, before we wrap everything up here, can you give any feedback to people out there that might be girls out there that deciding should they sign up for this? Should they apply for the scholarship? Any advice you can give them?
Oh my gosh, 100%. Like I was saying earlier, the application in itself was very eye-opening for me because I had not taken the time to truly reflect back on my career and what I was hoping to accomplish in my career. And just doing the application, I feel like helped me. So first off, put yourself out there. I feel like we as women don't do that enough. And also celebrate your accomplishments and use this application to put yourself out there. Even if you are unsure about anything, then when it comes to having your review with your boss, use that as some pointers. Like, did you forget about this and this and this that I did? That, like those types of things are really, really important. And just like I was saying, if you have the privilege of being selected, I mean, it can absolutely change your life. So just even for that opportunity, it is absolutely worth it. So I would recommend any person who meets the qualifications to absolutely apply.
I love that. Hey, Mariah, thank you so much for coming on. You know what? Fist pump, boom. I had so much fun. There we go. It was a blast. Got to know you. And I definitely will have to try one of your Bloody Marys sometime.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow with some great scholar winners. Take care, guys.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you so much.